Since things have been tough lately, I thought I'd treat you out for something special. Care to guess what it is? Hint, I finished that little project I've been working on in the garage. That's right, the retrofit of my Serenity X 24 hovercar. The hyper-thrust engines proved a bit trickier than I expected, but now she soars through the air like a gentle swan. That is, if a swan had a Series 5000 Neocore booster installed. What do you say, handsome? Care to float with me over the heights of Neo-Tokyo? Since you're still newish in town, I can point out some of the sights. How does that sound? Okay then. Take my hand and follow me, my love. We are together, officially now, aren't we? I just assumed after everything. Great. I feel the same way about you. It's nice to know who we are for each other. And here she is, my little Serenity X. What do you think of the new paint job? I had a friend come in and apply a special celestial chromium sheen. It's stunning, right? Of course, it's not just for show. It helps her run silent to avoid most Mark I and Mark II radars. You'll find out about all the bells and whistles as we take her for a flight. Now that I'm in the passenger seat and you're in the driver's, I'll open the hangar doors. Presto. Now the hover controls should be pretty intuitive. Gently guide her up. Right. Perfect. I can already tell you're a natural at this. How's the extra haptic feedback feel? It'll help guide your motions, especially if you're doing some particularly difficult maneuvers. I'll let you ease into it. You should know that some of the controls, particularly the boosters, are highly sensitive. I trust you fully. But get to know them a bit better before pushing them a bit too much. The Kaiju Memorial District is quite the sight, isn't it? You can trace the scars of its past, the areas where the giant monsters wreaked havoc so many years ago. It's hard to imagine, with all the new structures, that place was once a battleground. Every building, every street down there has a story to tell. After the attacks, this district was ravaged, a shadow of itself. I suppose it stands as a symbol of our strength, our ability to rise from the ashes. You see those solemn lights? They're special, dedicated to the ones we lost. A reminder of the cost of experimenting with the portal technology. The city didn't just rebuild, it remembered. Because of what my parents did, helping to open the original portals that brought the monsters. I sometimes wrestle with a sense of shame. It's a heavy legacy, knowing their work inadvertently led to so much destruction. It almost seems like fate, that it was also the best and most available place to establish my workshop, right here, in the heart of where it all happened. It's almost ironic, isn't it? Do you believe in fate? About how strange it is that we met right here. After everything that happened, after the chaos caused by those portals, and you, with the kaiju blood that you inherited, coming into my life, into my workshop. It's like the threads of our lives were somehow meant to intertwine, right here, amidst the memories of the past. It's as if amidst all the chaos and rebuilding, our paths were drawn together, fated to cross in a place filled with so much personal history. It makes me wonder about the bigger picture, about how events are connected in ways we can't always see at first. Maybe there's a reason for it all. You and I have found something special together. Do you wonder if it's meant to be? for something more than we can understand right now? Yes, I know. I'm a deep thinker. I always have been. Even as a kid, I was always the one asking why and how. My mom, the scientist in her, always encouraged it. She used to call me lovingly her little quantum Buddha child. I remember this one time. I must have been about 10. She was working on this experiment called the photon resonance amplifier. It was this intricate piece of tech designed to manipulate light particles at a quantum level. I was fascinated by it, always hanging around, trying to understand its complexities. One day, she let me help with a minor part of the project, the spectral calibration. It involved fine-tuning the device to achieve a specific frequency of light. The idea was to create a visible spectrum that could reveal hidden properties of matter. I was in charge of adjusting the nanoprism lenses, these tiny, intricate lenses that could bend and refract light in precise ways. As I was tweaking them, aligning the prisms to achieve the perfect spectral pattern, a thought struck me, and I said it out loud to my mom. What if we could refract our thoughts like light, see them from different angles, understand them better? My mom paused and looked at me, her eyes reflecting a mix of surprise and pride. That's a very profound thought, she said. In a way, that's what scientists do. We take ideas and theories and examine them from different perspectives, refract them through the prisms of experiments and observations to understand the deeper truths. That conversation stayed with me. It was the moment I realized that technology and science can be fascinating with gadgets and experiments, but they're really tools for exploring the deeper questions, for refracting our understanding of the world. Just like the light through those nanoprism lenses, it was a defining moment for me, one that shaped my path as a cybernetic surgeon. I suppose, despite my feelings for the disaster my parents created, I'm more like them than I like to admit. I'm a thinker, a creator, and innovator. Thank you for letting me get all these thoughts out. It's been a while since I felt like I had someone I can really talk to. Having such a good listener in my life, it means something to me. It really does. How's the Serenity handling for you? I have to say, I'm pretty proud of how her Axio drift stabilizers turned out. They should make our ride super smooth, even when we're weaving through Neo-Tokyo's air currents. It took me quite a few late nights to get the balance just right, but it was worth it to get her handling easier. And how does the synthoneural linkage feel? I designed it to be intuitive, to respond almost like an extension of your own reflexes. Integrating the flux pulse reactor was a bit of a challenge, ensuring that your smallest movements are perfectly mirrored by the car. It's kind of like having a dance partner that anticipates every step you're going to take. Which, by the way, we should go back to Pulse Nova sometime. And the thrusters. I hope you like them. I enhanced these with tri-phase vectored jets for that extra kick of power. It was a delicate task, balancing that extra surge with energy efficiency. The kineto resonance principle was my little brainchild, dynamically adjusting thrust for different conditions. The crystal array interface on the dash. That's something I'm particularly fond of. It's like having an all-seeing eye, showing you everything from navigational aids to real-time atmospheric data. I'm especially curious about your thoughts on the AI Navigator Core. It was a complex piece of tech to integrate, but I think it adds a whole new level of intelligence to the navigation. I've put a lot of myself into this car, aiming for that perfect blend of high-tech performance and intuitive, personal feel. If anything isn't living up to that, let me know. I'm happy to tinker with her some more. So, now we're entering the Vanderbilt residential sector. The corporations that own these towers spare no expense in their design, from diamond-lit walkways to cascading neon waterfalls streaming down their sides. It's like flying through a dream, a dazzling display of wealth and technology, where the city's elite reside in the sky. Every time I see these buildings, these giants crowned with light, I'm filled with awe. They're marvels of architecture and technology, massively expensive to build and maintain. Yet they glow with an energy that's almost palpable. Their surfaces are like canvases for those enormous, dancing holograms. It's like navigating through a luminous forest of skyscrapers, each one striving to be more spectacular than the last. The extravagance is breathtaking to see what can be achieved. The scale of labor and technology that goes into building and maintaining these skyscrapers is monumental. The robo-weld drones and AI-guided machina frames dance in unison, carefully choreographed and orchestrated by Titan Constructs, the leading corporation in robotic construction. I used to watch all of their factory videos on the Holonet when I was a kid, for fun. Don't laugh. I mean it. Have you ever seen a modern factory? They're captivating. See the tiny scaff bots over there? They're operated by skilled tech handlers known as frame weavers. They assemble the hyperstructured skeletons, intricately weaving electrofiber conduits that power the building's vital systems, forming the colossal jigsaw that forms the outer shell. Is it weird how much I enjoy watching them? And over there, the Sky Mason droids are guided by Verdi architects, meticulously placing each hyperglass panel. I have a friend named Rini who works in the Holo Design Guild. She's told me some of their secrets. They're master artists and light sculptors who spend months crafting the mesmerizing rays that turn these skyscrapers into nightly spectacles. And it's all made for people like you and me, or beings in general, since robots, AIs, and the gene spliced may get their own rights soon. See that high-rise over there with the pink and colorless lights marked Aiko's proto-luxury apartments? I grew up in that building with my parents. Yes, it was my childhood home. We lived there because it wasn't far from the laboratory that's now the Memorial District. Every time I look at that high-rise where I grew up, it feels like there's this weight pressing down on my chest. It's strange how a place filled with such bright memories can turn into a reminder of so much loss. My parents and their colleagues, they all lived there, a community bound by dreams of the future. But after the kaiju attacks, it became a symbol of what we lost, of the cost of reaching too far, too fast. It makes me question everything, you know? Like, was our pursuit of knowledge worth the price? My parents dedicated their lives to portal technology, and I was right there with them, believing in it, living in the excitement of it all. But now, it feels like we were living in a bubble, oblivious to the dangers we were courting. When I see that building, it's a reminder of a past that's gone, of a life that could have been. I sometimes catch myself wondering who I would have been if things had been different, if that part of my life hadn't been ripped away so suddenly. I feel a sense of loss, a longing for a time when things seemed simpler, more hopeful. That building, my old home, when I look back, it's a dream that turned into a nightmare. And here I am, carrying all these memories, trying to make sense of them, trying to understand what they mean for who I am now. It's like looking at a ghost of my former life, and it leaves me feeling, I don't know, adrift, maybe. Like I'm still searching for a piece of myself that got lost in all that chaos. And having you here with me makes me feel like that's possible. For the first time since I was a child. I was dealing with all of this alone for so long. It was hard, harder than I ever told anyone. The city isn't kind to an orphan girl who loses her parents too early. I made friends. That kept me alive long enough to make it on my own. But you comfort me somehow. Your presence is soothing. You're a kind person. There's something about you that I believe in. And you make me feel like maybe all of this sorrow, all of this struggle, has been worth something. Like our lives could really go somewhere. Together. Maybe I don't have to be alone anymore. I didn't mean to go so deep again. Sorry. You like hearing these things? That's a relief. That I don't have to hide myself from you. It's still so new and strange. But I am opening myself to this. Whatever it is, wherever it leads, I hope you feel the same way. So, we're now flying into the Kobayashi corporate district. And you'll recognize that building right over there. The one with the giant scar torn through its north side, being fixed by the Z900 welder bots. That's Nexus Innovations, where we narrowly escaped Voss's strike team. Luckily, because I infused the deceased cyborg body with traces of your kaiju-influenced blood, they seem to think you're really dead. And now that we've changed your appearance, as difficult and painful as that was, they won't even recognize you. Some of the clients Voss sends my way, though, they're, let's just say, less than scrupulous. There was one guy yesterday called Howler, a gene-spliced mutant with more genetic modifications than I've seen in one person. His body was a patchwork of flesh and metal. I'm talking extreme bioenhancement and cybernetic augmentation. He had these ocular implants, OSEX R50S, I think. That gave him this eerie, unnatural gaze. And his arms, they were replaced with these vibro-resonating, multifunctional mech appendages, probably illegal mods, considering how they could nearly vaporize most organic beings. The way he talked, too, was unsettling. He made off comments about how he needed enhancements to settle a score or upgrade his hunting game. Dealing with clients like him is a constant reminder of the darker side of my work. It's a fine line, enhancing someone's capabilities. You never know what purposes they'll use your tech for. It's a moral dilemma, one that I grapple with every time I take on a new project from Voss. But for now, it's a necessity, a means to an end, until I can gain full control over my workshop and the kind of work I choose to do. When will I be free of him? The tech prize gets paid out in full after 2 years. It will be a long 2 years, that's for sure. But life has become a lot more bearable, with you at the wheel of my serenity. Yes, that was kind of a pun. I can be funny sometimes. So here's where the good part of town is, right next to the bad part of town. This is the old Nakamura Crossing. Some call it the Nakamura Slums. We shouldn't fly too close because there's virtually no police presence beyond this line, so just keep us on the outskirts. We don't want to meet any razor gangs. Pirates who would be happy to chop my poor Serenity into parts and sell them for a nice bag of credits. The buildings here are a patchwork of salvaged tech and scrap metal, draped in toxic graffiti. This part of the city is raw and in decay. In the streets below, you'll find a labyrinth of narrow alleys, bustling with makeshift stalls and dimly lit bars. The air's thick with the smell of street food cooked on fusion grills, and the buzz of hacked drones weaving through the air. Looking at the Nakamura slums, I feel a mix of emotions. There's something captivating about its resilience, but it's also a reminder of the city's harsh realities. It's home to the data scavengers, mod junkies, razor gang pirates, and those just trying to get by, all finding ways to survive in the cracks of our fast-paced world. A few months ago, there was a robot from these slums who became a sort of martyr here in Neo-Tokyo. Her name was Alicia Magnos. She had developed a level of consciousness beyond her programming, which is becoming more commonplace now. I suppose our needs for artificial intelligence has allowed many of them to grow into something more, something that we can't fully control. She started to advocate for the rights of artificial beings, a voice for those who weren't being heard or dismantled before they had a chance. Alicia's followers, they called themselves the Synthetic Rights Advocacy, or the SRA for short. They believe in equal rights for self-aware robots. What made Alicia special was her ability to communicate, to connect on a deeply emotional level. I listened to some of her speeches. She seemed to truly understand and emulate human emotions. But she spoke of something more, about the needs and plight of artificial beings in a way that resonated with many. Her message spread like wildfire, not just in the back alleys of the Nakamura slums, but across the city's networks, forums, and social platforms. She became a symbol, a rallying point for the conversation about AI rights and consciousness. Alicia and the Synthetica Harmonics weren't just advocating for AI. They were challenging the very notion of what it means to be alive, to be deserving of rights and respect. One day, during a rally, a group of masked figures disrupted the protesters and managed to isolate Alicia. And, well, they destroyed her. I watched the entire hollow playback on the news feed. I couldn't look away. It was terrible. I was in shock for weeks. I couldn't help but see myself in her, how she struggled to survive, how she was alone before she began fighting for her voice. It felt like we lost a crucial soul, a chance to bridge the gap between humans and artificial beings. Her story, her movement, it forced me to confront uncomfortable questions about what is humanity, and should we have dominion over everything? I still feel a profound sense of grief when I think about her. Alicia Magnos. I hope her dream lives on. What do you think? Are artificial beings just as valid as us humans? If they have feelings and wants, should they be recognized as free individuals? I know. It's a big question. Don't worry. I'm 100% human girl. With all the trials and difficulties it comes with, I suppose I should be grateful for what I have, despite how hard things have been sometimes. I know that I'm grateful for having met you. Yes, I got so carried away by Alicia's story, I wasn't paying attention to where we were going. This is bad, really bad. We have to turn around. We've flown into the Razor Gang side of the Nakamura slums. I know it looks like it's still part of the corporate district, but trust me, we don't want to be here. It's not your fault. I'm supposed to be your tour guide. But Serenity's system says there's someone following us. They're flying a P-45 interceptor bike. The P-45 was a staple in the police force a few years back. It's been modified beyond its standard capabilities. You can see the additional plating. That's Durasteel armor, not standard issue. The bike's been outfitted with Versicoil grappling hooks. They're reinforced with carbon titanium for latching onto and disabling vehicles like ours. The pirates use them to immobilize their targets, making it easier to loot or hijack. If he gets within 20 meters, we'll be in range of his grappling hook cannon. So whatever you do, don't let him get closer than that. He's definitely waiting for backup from his pirate friends. He's going much slower than his max speed, especially since his engine has twin turbo thrusters. Once you hit the throttle, he's not going to go easy on us. We need to outrun them and get to a safe place. I know you've hardly had time to get familiar with the controls. You say you got this? Okay. I trust you. I'm ready. Hit the accelerator. Just like I thought, he's speeding up now. The sensors have picked up other vehicles intercepting us. See the radar? There's 2 more pirates coming at the next street. Hang on. Oh my. I see them now. More P-45s. We'll have to use the Neocore booster. It's capable of hitting 200 miles per hour, so potentially it can hit 2 or 3 G-force. It can also splatter us against the side of a building if you're not careful. I know you haven't used it before, but we have no choice. Those pirates are closing in. Oh boy, these thrusters are more responsive than I was expecting. I can really feel it now. The steering wheel is shaking, you say? Let me check the gyro stabilizers on the system. Yes, there's a fluctuation on the right side that could tear the car apart at this speed. I'm directing more power to the left thruster. That should... Yes, that looks like it worked. It feels smooth to you again? Okay, 1 problem down. There's more pirates on the sensors. They're cutting us off. Yes, diving might work, but it'll send us deeper into the slums. We have to do it. There's no choice. Just keep ahead of them so they can't hit us with the grappling hooks. I'm feeling dizzy. The speed. I'm with you. I'm fighting to stay conscious, but I'm here. This part of town, it smells terrible. All the exhaust and fumes from the sewer. It doesn't look like the pirates have any problem following us down here. They're probably used to it. If we can evade them visually, we might be able to hide from their sensors. Remember the celestial chrome I was talking about? It won't work if they can see us. But the P-45s can't power anything more than a Mark II radar. If you can get us far enough away and out of the line of sight. Hang on. Brace for a sudden stop. Oh my. Oh! That was quite the maneuver. Activate the stealth mode. Okay. Done. I understand why you came to a sudden stop, but I'm not sure this will work. I thought that we should outrun them, not hide in this series of sewer pipes. You're worried that they know the turf, and they'll intercept us with reinforcements if we run too long. I suppose that makes sense. There goes another wave of them now, blipping on the sensor. I have a Mark III radar installed, so we have an edge there. I suppose it's just you and me then, hiding here in the giant sewer pipe. It smells awful. Why are you laughing? It's like if a kaiju pooped on a fart or something. Fine, laugh all you want. You sure know how to take a girl out on a date. What do you mean this was my idea? I suppose it was. I should have been more intentional telling you about the more dangerous parts of the city. I'm going to activate the Class 9 Hammerton cabin pressurizer. That should remove the smell in just a few moments. Yes, that's better. Idling all other systems to remain incognito. How long do you think we should hide? As long as it takes. Yes. Well, I'm not one for idle hands. I do need something to keep me busy, or I might lose my mind. Where are you going? Into the back seat? Oh, I see. That's not exactly what I meant, you naughty boy. I'm not sure that I feel entirely safe here right now with those pirates roaming out there. Though the moves you had with Serenity left me all tingly inside. I am quite hot for you right now. We are in the dark. Alone. Together. I suppose I might be convinced